Hi, I'm Jennifer from the Wooster branch of the Wayne County Public Library, back with another bullet journal video. Today, let's take a closer look at logs or calendars, why you might use each kind of log, and different ways to set them up. In the book, The Bullet Journal Method, writer Carol outlines 3 kinds of logs: the daily log, the monthly log, and the future log. Obviously, the daily log is where you will list your tasks, events, and notes for the day. It's really the core of your bullet journal with the details you need for staying productive and for seeing your progress over time. The monthly log lets you see all your events at one glance and gives you room to break down tasks or projects into manageable bites over the month. The future log does the same for the whole year, listing each month and the events for each one. So let's take a look at these logs individually, as well as the weekly log that isn't mentioned in the book, but has become just as popular among bullet journal fans. The daily log is the simplest log. Just write the date and below it your tasks and events for the day. At the end of the day, you can add notes about the day, memories, things you want to remember, and once you've checked off what you've completed, you can look over what you haven't checked off and decide if you want to move those items to the next day. Then just write the date for the next day, add those items you want to carry over, and write down any other tasks or events for the day. It's minimal and straightforward. The monthly log, as writer Carol describes it in his book, is a simple list of the days of the month, one line for each, where you can fill in birthdays or events. You don't have to make it fancy, but some people do like to highlight the weekends just to give you some visual reminder of how the week is broken up. If you prefer a more visual overview of your month's events, you can always use the calendar format for your monthly log. And let me show you that. You can make it big, covering 2 pages, or small, covering just 1 page, with a list of events next to or below it. If you're not sure which method would work best for you, try one method one month and then switch it for the next month. You can always write a little note to yourself at the bottom of the monthly log to remind yourself what worked and what didn't. The future log serves the same purpose, but for a full year, or even a half a year or 1 quarter, just depending on what you need. You can create it from multiple monthly logs, or you can write out or paste in small calendars for each month and add the dates you need to remember next to them. In this instance, I've just printed out a calendar from online and taped it in. Nobody said you can't. How you lay out a future log mainly depends on the size of your journal and how many events you want to list for each month. This is a quick and easy way to do it, where you can then use the opposite page to list out your special dates. But if you're using a journal with dot grid or graph paper, you might find that writing out your own calendars is pretty simple to fit those into each box, even if it is a little bit time consuming. And then you can leave as much space as you need for writing down events. Personally speaking, the key pages of my own bullet journal are the weekly spreads that show me an entire week at a glance. The weekly gives you room to write out tasks for each day of the week, whether you use 1 page or 2. You can make a weekly log more visually appealing with color, format, lettering, and additional artistic flourishes. But that is completely up to you. And you can either set the same weekly spread format for a whole month or switch it up every week to see what works best for you. Now, there's absolutely nothing that says you have to create all of these logs in your journal. As I've said before, and will probably say again and again, Just do what works for you. That said, once you feel more comfortable with keeping a bullet journal, be open to trying something new. When I started, I didn't bother with a future log, but now I find it invaluable to help me figure out the year at the beginning of the year. What I use now is a combination of all the various logs from future to monthly to daily and weekly. And this just gives you a sample of what I mean. As I mentioned, in the next video, I'll talk about trackers, why you might want to use them, what things you might want to track, and how to set them up. Trackers are completely optional, but I'll review some ideas for using them that might sound worthwhile to you. If you have questions, drop them on the library's Facebook page and I'll try to answer. Don't forget, the Bullet Journalists group meets the third Saturday of every month on Zoom, and we talk about what we're learning from using our journals, as well as sharing ideas and experiments. If you're interested in joining us, you can register for the Zoom meeting through a link on Facebook or through the calendar of events on the library website at wcpl.info. And until the next video, happy journaling!